Hacker Cavalier and a matching extension amplifier. Both of these are valve amps. In fact, the valve amps in them are identical, even though this one was called a slightly different model because they changed the grill. But the amps are identical in them, as are the speakers. Now the knobs on these were all broken off, so I've replaced them by some see-through ones which just seem to work really nicely. They've got pointers on them and the lights shine through and they look really nice, so I've done the same on both. And they've cleaned up nicely, just a few marks on the grills. Inside the main record player, it's a Garrard 86 stacking if you want to, and it's got the optional little single play which most people would use, that just pull this one out and it just fits inside. Now the original had an old mono cartridge in it. I've replaced it with the BSR SC12M stereo cartridge, which is out of all the cartridges I've tried, it seems to be the best one. It seems to give a very good sound. So this can now operate in stereo, and therefore you can connect this one out the back into the input on this one. Now this one here has a single phono input, so I can use a just a normal phono lead. That means you can also connect anything into this, your iPod or pull a record player, anything, and it gets a really loud sound. Only mono, of course, but if you want to fill a room, it goes very loud indeed. Pretty good condition. It's cleaned up. The back had a little bit of, this is like a fibre board, a small amount of damage, but nothing special. Amplifier loudspeaker unit type AL42 for the final choice. This has all been checked out, all the valves checked, all the components checked, cleaned, and everything tested working fine. So now this one, around the back of this one, if I can just twist it round for you, you've got a little panel here. Again, you can feed into this one if you want, and but for the stereo out, you plug into there. Now these phono sockets on these old amps are not like modern phono sockets. They've got an extra long sort of centerpiece. A normal phono socket, if you plug it in there, won't work. So I've got this one with an extra long centerpiece, because what it does, when you plug it into the stereo output, there's a little switch on this phono socket inside. It switches off the left channel or right channel, not sure which one, and then it feeds it into the other amp. So you plug that in there and it switches it. If you wanted to feed something in there, you'd have to use this lead as well, because if you just put a phono socket in there, it won't work. So this amp's pretty good condition, very small amount of rust on the screw heads. The cabinet's cleaned up nicely. All valve, as I said, all the valves been checked all over, and everything fixed inside, lubricated up. Everything's working just fine. I'll just demonstrate. So it's 45 RPM. I put 3 singles on here. I guess these days no one would actually stack records up and let them drop. You'd probably play an LP on here. Now I've got to find a record that YouTube won't pull for copyright reasons, and I'm afraid the only one I've got is this old sort of shadow sort of music. Anyway, the auto works. Just make sure it's not jammed. This has got nice bearings on this arm, removable head, You can unscrew that if you want to take it off and look at the cartridge will clean the diamond. As I said, this is a new old stock. It's not a Chinese copy cartridge. This is actually an original BSR with diamond stylus, and sounds really good. Playing weight, you adjust it on this little slider. I've adjusted the playing weight up and down. I've set it about 3 or 4 grams. I'm not sure what exactly the best playing weight is, but if you set it too light, it can skip a bit. But I mean, it sounds good to me. I'll show you the auto playing. Put the 45 on, and normally you'd use a single stacker probably. So just put 45 on. And with all these players, they sound best with the case down for bass. I'll turn up the volume in a minute. I'll turn up the treble. Turn that down. Now I'll turn this one up. That's the treble and bass. Now in stereo I'll put this volume back up. And off. This, you can push this down, it locks in place so that if you want to move it so it doesn't fly about. There's a thing up the back here. If you coil the cable up, and I think you can stick it in there, the mains cable. And if you're going to transport this, you screw these screws down under there and there. So I'm gonna sell these as a pair, I think, as especially if you're going to play your LPs and that on it. You better in stereo. If you unplug the plug on this one out the back, it will play the stereo record both channels through the speaker here, so you don't have to have that one plugged in all the time. Just show you that this can be used on its own with something else plugged in. I've plugged in this old-fashioned CD player, but you could put in iPod, any mobile thing. got a record on it. I'll just play a snatch of the record because if YouTube recognises the record there, so I can't use it. So it's just.
Heels, sneakers, pumps, lace up your boots, representing all the women. Salute, so ladies all across the world, listen up, we're looking for recruits. If you're with me, let me see your hands. Stand up and salute. Get your killer heels, sneakers, pumps, lace up your boots, representing all the women. Salute, salute, it's who we are. We don't need no.
So hopefully that won't be too long. That YouTube will pull it. But anyway, yeah, it can put up plenty of volume. So that's just an extra for it.